Hello and welcome to another episode of Made in the 1980s, an escape from your grown ass life. But you know what, today? We're going to talk a little bit of life. It's an ISO on me today. There's a lot of things I want to say, and actually, it's right on time for this week. It's right on time for this week because Father's Day is coming up, middle of the month as normal. I think it's what is June 16th, I think is the actual day, the third Sunday of the month of June. And a lot of what I have to say is going to be geared, I think, towards Father's Day and the treatment of it. You know, even though this is probably going to be deemed as a black specific pod. This might be a black trauma episode, if you will, but I sincerely hope that any and everybody that pays attention to this episode can get some knowledge, understanding, get a little game, even if you will, about the way we just treat each other, the way we treat each other in friendship, love, lust, all of it, all relationships. I want to say this will probably fall under the guise of it. As Father's Day comes up, I just want to encourage all men, no matter what your current status is with your children or the mothers of your children, to just stand strong and keep doing what you need to do, keep doing what you have to do, no matter how hard it can be. You know, um, my cousin, we've had some we had a really great talk not too long ago, and told me his pops, which is also my cousin. Um, he told him never get tired of doing the right thing. And boy, does that resonate with me right now as this whole year about what I was I was doing, what I wanted to do, the passion that I have behind assisting and raising my own child, you know, and things not being the greatest right now. He said, never get tired of doing the right thing. And it goes into deeper in detail than that. And I won't focus on that this episode, but all of this like just reminds me of why I'm doing this episode, why I feel it's important, and why I want to make sure that whoever sees this episode, man, we start as black people, whether we deal with our race or not, that we stop all of the negative connotation, the trauma building and bonding generationally, and nothing could assist this episode better than the conversation I literally had earlier in this week. So the wife and I, we go out, we have a good time, we hang out, and sometimes we hit up one of our homegirls, or we see who's available, and whether it's couples, homies, homegirls, whatever. We always try to make sure that we get out and just really sit and talk and catch up. And our friend that we were speaking with this time, I'm sitting here listening to her go over this new relationship that she didn't want to quite call a relationship, right? It was us like, yeah, you know what? He said he don't want a relationship. I told him I'm not ready for a relationship. And so we kind of just doing whatever. And man, it just occurred to me that, man, I have been hearing that for decades. And um, I think for the first time hearing that, I finally understood where it's coming from. You know, unfortunately, there aren't many consistent generations of Black men and women being together willfully and surviving together and building a happy, healthy family. Just not many. It's not many generations of that, especially on American soil. What are we like? Maybe at three, maybe. And if you're an 80s baby like me, and I'm not saying it's all of us, but there is an overwhelming percent when you get into the 80s and the 90s and now the 2000s. There's a lot of us that either just grew up with our mom or our dad, or by the time we were 7 or 8, or maybe 18, then they got divorced. The parents got divorced, or they left, or then there's just death and incarceration, just things of that nature. A lot of different things play in the factors of just Black families being just torn and distraught. But the first thing it made me think of, as I was listening to her talk, and as I like kind of felt bad. I felt bad. I felt like, man, is she high key miserable and not knowing it and not saying that? Or like, why is she expecting the worst? Why is she expecting the worst? And I even said this in the conversation. I was like, man, why do Black people expect the absolute worst from each other? She's like, what you mean? I said, well, you're already leading off with how your parents told you that all men cheat. It's just a matter of when and what time. And on the surface, yeah, we've heard that before, right? We've heard all men cheat. Everybody cheats. Everybody cheats. But are you going to stay or go? You got to deal with it. So, hey, if Beyonce got cheated on, or if she get cheated on, or, what makes you think you can, right? And that's a really just bad way to just look at ourselves as well as each other. And I wish that there was just a more positive just outlook on it. I wish it was more of instead of all men cheat, it's just that, find somebody that really loves you for you. Why don't we push that message more? Why do we have to lead with the whole cheating thing? And I asked that to her, and she really didn't have an answer other than, well, this is what she was taught. And I was like, and you were probably taught that from somebody that was taught that as well, or somebody that just experienced like hurt or heartache or pain. And then it really kind of hit home for me why they were both, this young lady and the guy she's dealing with right now, why they both have that, well, I ain't looking for a relationship. Okay, well, that's cool. I ain't ready. Because look, nobody wants to get the label of cheater. Nobody wants to be labeled as the one that did somebody wrong. Nobody wants to, be the assailant or the culprit, I think, of infidelity, right? But at the same time, that phrase, all men cheat, and if this can happen to her, it can happen to you. It's almost like, well, I guess I'm going to pick someone, expect to be hurt by them, but this is the hurt I am willing to deal with. And boy, does that sound just ugh to me. I wouldn't want that, you know, as a person that's getting married for the second time this year. I don't want for the negative and the traumatic and the worst case scenarios to be the things that we are just expecting. Now, much like I was telling the young lady also, though, I said, I've learned from my past relationships, especially this very last one, about how I'm just not going to compromise who I am. And because the level of compromise that I made, it really felt like I was suppressing the person that I wanted to be because, well, my partner was not into that, or my partner didn't want to do these things, or it was cool to be a one and done. It was like, oh, we tried this, now, whatever, get that out of here. versus me is like, well, no, this is the person I'm becoming. This is who I want to be. This is how I want to give it up. This is how I want to get down. This is my world now. And you know, when you don't get to be who you are after you truly understand who you are, man, does that resentment build up. Man, does that suppression feel like, crushing to your soul and your spirit and your chest, and you do just want to get yourself into a better space. And it's very important that all of us live in this space where you can be you, and you can have people that love you and want you to be you, and then be them. And then you love who they are. And even part of me, because it's becoming such a big conversation in the, black delegation, I said, well, man, is it really that maybe you want monogamy and he don't, and maybe he's just not coming clean to tell you that because the average conversation that he's specifically going to have with a black woman is shutting that down completely. Um, and maybe now you are tasked with being the very first black woman for him to deal with, to have this conversation, and you not judge him, you not reprimand him, you not shut him down, you not shut him out, or you just leave him. There's this narrative that was going around. I won't say narrative. There was this scenario running around where women were saying, just tell me the truth and give me the options. You'll never know. And I ain't gonna lie, some women probably were keeping it 100 on that. They probably were. But for the most part, that was for women to weed out the guys that they just knew that they should cut off because of society, or because of what their homegirls would think, or what their parents might think if they knew what they were going to allow or be a part of. That's how I feel. I'm not saying that that's fact. That's just how I feel. And when I think about things like that, you know, it just it really just sinks into me like, man, why we gotta be fucked up? Like, why we gotta be fucked up? Why do we have to be the ones that commune and depart in trauma and disarray and disagreement and dysfunction? Everything that black love can be, because it's great and wonderful. It can be extremely great and extremely wonderful. But why? Why do we have to be so messed up to the point where we teach our children that trauma's on the way, dysfunction's on the way, disarray, dismay, unorganization, terrible foundation is on the way? But do the best you can. I want more for us than that, man. I want more for us than that. In our conversation also, it really it just really just sunk in, like, man, we expect the absolute worst from each other, but not only that, like, we speak against relationship ideas but end up in relationships whether we acknowledge it or not. Case in point, back to our friend. Dude said, yo, I don't want a relationship. Okay, that's cool, I ain't ready. But yet these two people who happen to be black, they have said how they feel about relationships. They've did the litmus test on their ambition or their preparedness for a relationship. It says no, but when you really sit and watch, and when you really sit and talk, and when you really think back, you've been in a relationship the whole time. Whole time. You've been in a relationship the entire time. And we have to stop that. We have to stop that because it's the own mind bending world of us. And we're trying to fight nature in a sense. And the nature in this is just the willingness and the wanting to be loved, to be cared for, to have a companion. Even as a person, like I'm a person, I don't like to be around anybody every day. I don't like to talk to everybody every day. I don't like to talk for hours. I'm not a good small talk person. I don't do a lot of these things. It's just not me. I do enjoy silence. I'm an only child. I grew up latchkey. So that's kind of just where I am with it. But I still want to be loved, you know? And I am not shy about saying that. I spoke with my future wife, because I call her my wife. If I ever refer to my fiance, my future wife, my wife is all the same person I'm talking to, unless I say X or something like that. But I I literally just had a conversation with her about, yo, make me feel, wanted or aroused, or do something to ignite me to want to do things for you. Like, why don't we seduce each other? Why don't we, what I'm saying? Like, instead of it, you just feeling like it's all a burden on you to do, you know, I need to do it well. Let me step my game up. But at the same time, like, I still need that too. I'm not a caveman. I'm not a Neanderthal to the point where, like, I'm just gonna pull out meat and then, like, it's just up and we doing it. Like, some days, like, man, some of these days I work a lot. There's a lot going on. I have my head in the clouds and I do need to relax. I do need to unwind. And I am not always prepared to come in and be this loving, caring, intimate person. I'm not prepared to do it. So, just have some just leniency for that, because I know you feel the same way. I mean, but let's not put ourselves into the space where we are thinking something is wrong because maybe the super intimate or the super sexual just prowess of us both have, like, just been a little less this week, you know and we shouldn't automatically think that there's something wrong. Again, that dramatic, yo, you're not doing this no more, so it's got to be something wrong with me. Well, no. How about life is just kicking my ass to today, or this week, or this month? Um, don't always assume that there's something wrong with you because we are not physical or intimate or spending like, and all of that to say, man, I'm really starting to understand that we don't really have a clue on how to be honest and love each other. You know, we I think we've let too many songs, too many movies and television shows teach us the wrong things. Teach us black love, teach us relationship, but you know, we've gotten so many extremes that we don't see how we see perfect or we see completely imperfect. There's no real in between. We don't really hash out our issues. If we do hash them out, there's an element of violence involved. And it's just like, man, we don't have to do all that to each other. But I do think it comes with being very honest in the beginning. What I've definitely always tried to do is within the first week and definitely the first 3 days, I try to be extremely honest about who I am, what I want, how I want it, what comes with it, and if you're down or not. Because the earlier I tell you that, the easier it is for you to be like, you know what, I'm on it, or I want to try this, or nah, this ain't for me. And that's fine. You know, nobody wants to be judged. Nobody wants to be, looked at weird from their person, the person they want to date, the one person they want to be with. You we should be all picking our mates based on on who provides us the safest space. And I think for a lot of time, black people have not done that with each other. You know, we are so worried about screenshots and getting exposed and being, told on or being gossiped about, or we're afraid of being labeled and being embarrassed. Just what about that word? What about the biggest E word of them all? People are just afraid to be embarrassed that, you know, we don't love each other enough. We don't love each other the right way. We're not honest with each other. You know, and I think that's super important. What I was telling the young lady that we were having dinner with, I said, man, it sounds like to me, dude maybe kept it 85 with you instead of the full 100. But now there's feelings involved on both of your ends, right? Said, man, maybe he should have led with, I don't want a traditional relationship. You know, maybe I want to experiment in poly, or I want to have a girlfriend that lets me, be intimate with other women, and is secure with that. And obviously you're not. And I was like, and also, even when y'all go into this world, you said that, well, what if I want to be with other guys? And you're like, oh no, he shut that down, or you know, and that's the thing. Again, we don't know how to reciprocate. We don't know how to reciprocate. We don't know how to be honest. We don't know how to love each other. We want to establish dominance. We want to dominate a person. We want to control a person. And that's just not how relationships work. I'm now convinced that a lot of relationships are just not working because we are approaching them very selfishly, very I versus me. There is no team. There is the I'll accommodate this one time, but we're not doing this. This can't be who you are. This is not who you are. You can't be this type of person with me. I think a lot of those things happen um, when we talk about Black relationships. And I'm hoping that it changes. I'm hoping that it changes for all the people around me. And I'm hoping that it changes for a lot of the people that are truly looking for love and family and structure. We are in a very interesting time in our world, man. The pandemic, some people have still not recovered from it. And I ain't just talking about money, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people mentally, emotionally, even physically have not recovered from everything that happened in 2020. A lot of people are not. A lot of us are still unpacking a lot of things mentally that happened during that time. A lot of us are smiling through a lot of pain. A lot of us have lost the person that we thought we would love forever, or we realized how we weren't living the life we wanted to live. And that time could have been up. It could have been up. It could have been a wrap for all of us at this time. Even into 2021, there was still some um, scary uncertainty that existed in the world. And a lot of people took their lives. A lot of people um, sat with the realization of dying alone, or just not being with anybody. And again, it didn't have to happen for everybody to see and understand that. And that is, I think, the most important thing to learn through all of this. The pandemic taught me a lot. I had a lot of changes in 2020, going into 2021. A lot of changes. Some of them still taking time to process. And I think about that, and I went to therapy, and I'm pretty good. But as I talk to some of my friends, like the young lady that we were talking with earlier in the week, it really made me sad for her because, at her core, I believe she's a very beautiful person. And unfortunately, we have built this do them wrong before they do me wrong, culture, get to them before they get to me. Whether you hurt me or not, I'm going to hurt you first. I'm going to hurt you worse. And man, that's a tough way to build a life and to build love. It's a tough way to do that. Think about that. Think about that. You want to love someone and build foundation. But first, got to make sure that you hurt them first, or you got to make sure that you hurt them way before they hurt you. I don't want to be in that world, man. I don't want to live in that reality. No, sir. No. That doesn't even feel right. That doesn't feel right. And I know nobody wants to be hurt. And you may want revenge. You just may be a vengeful person, you know? But here's the deal. If you are that worried about her, you have two options. You can either never interact with anyone on any level, or you can take that hurt and just walk away. Or if I flip it around, you can either walk away or just never deal with anybody ever. But won't that make you lonely? Isn't that now a different thing to worry about? You know, through life, what I've learned, let's talk about me. What I've learned is that you will be disappointed and let down by everybody in your life: parents, grandparents, children, cousins, aunts, uncles, friends, yourself. You'll let yourself down. You'll if you live long enough and you do enough with your life, you'll do enough to even be disappointed in yourself. Let yourself down. Make you look at yourself differently. So why would you expect perfection from another person? No. And I'm not saying that things aren't deliberate. I'm not saying that the way that we speak to each other, the way we handle each other, the actions that we execute on each other, that they're warranted and that they should happen. Like, I don't believe anything bad should happen to anybody. But I think how you navigate the bad things that happen to you is truly what makes you who you are and will attract what you get, you know. And speaking of attracting what you get, the final point I want to make in this conversation here is, it's got to be more than money and sex that makes you a good partner. I seem to see that a lot. Even this came up in the conversation with the young lady. Hey, we go on dates, we buy dinner, we go to go to the park or movies or whatever, and he bought this, he bought that. You know what I'm saying? Dick is bomb. You know what I mean? It's just like, okay, you've established that the gentleman has money he's willing to spend on you. And then you also establish that, sexually, this is where you want it to be. Physically, this is what it is. You're happy with that. Those are two aspects of life that can't help you raise your son. These are two aspects that won't necessarily mean that he's the greatest candidate to produce more children if y'all decide to. How does he speak to you? How does he talk to you after the nut? What is your communication like? Are you really friends? Are you able to enjoy each other's company without an erection? If you have no money one day, what if you're a little short? What if you got stay in the house money? And if you if you know anything about me, you know what stay in the house money is. You know what, life is up. Inflation is crazy. What if you just don't have enough money to do the things that you would like to do and you got to sit at the house with this person? Is he still that great? Now that we've taken money and sex off the table, how's the communication? How's his compassion? How's his integrity? Saying how is his accountability? Is he the type of person that says things and does them? Um, can you trust his word? Can you stand on his word alongside with him? You know, and same thing for women. Okay, you got bread, your coochie good. Can you count? I think a lot of women, and I know they probably will disagree. Some will disagree with this, but I truly believe that nobody is focused on the physical of women more than women, no matter how they try to spin it amongst us and it being on men, right? Because if it really was all about having money, and if it really was all about good sex, then why are men saying, can you cook? Can you clean? Can you care give to children or elders? Can you help me make some money? Like, what I'm saying? Can you help me build an empire? Can you hustle? Like, you know what I mean? Like, if only thing that mattered was your face card and your bank account, or your body and your bank account, then why are now men emphasizing how they want more than that, and how they need more than that to qualify you as being someone for them? It's a two-way street. It's a two-way street. We all want more than great face cards and money. We all want more than good sex and money. But yet here we are, still arguing and still going crazy over these frivolous matters of the, not even of the heart, it's of the mindset. Frivolous, thoughts of the mindset, because in your heart you want way more than that. You want way more than that. Your heart is telling you you want way more than that. But whether you were taught by your friends or your homegirls, your favorite auntie, your favorite uncles, your mom or your dad, if you were ever led in the conversation that started with, well, these bitches ain't shit, or hey, look, all these niggas is cheating. If you've ever been dealt the negative first, but then said, but he's a good man because he's working, or because he looks good, or because he satisfies you sexually. You've been passed on some trauma, man. Just keeping it real. You've been passed on some trauma, passed down some trauma. You've been given the blueprint to dysfunctional dating. And you got to forget that. You got to forget that. You got to be who you are. You got to overcome the mindset of black people are just bad to black people, but we got to stay in love. And we got to figure it out. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. I encourage everybody to be honest. Know who you are and present yourself as who you are, and talk about who you want to be. And the right person, male or female, they'll respond to that. I only say that because I live it. I live it. I took a very big risk jumping into another relationship so quickly. But you know what? Because I wanted to give it a lot of time. I really did. But you know what? Working in truth worked so well for me. I found someone that wanted to share their truth with me. And we didn't do trauma bonding. We did evolution bonding. I'm sorry, bombing. Evolution bonding. As she was becoming who she wanted to be, and I was allowing her to be that and watch it. She was letting me be who I want to be. She got to watch that. And now we just grow up as this super cool, dope couple that will do just about anything, not only together, but as a unit, and we want to support and encourage other people as well. And that is something that I couldn't be happier to have. You know what I mean? So man, please, please out there, whether I know you or not, redesign your idea of black love, reshape your thinking on how to approach the opposite sex or the same sex, if that's what you're into. Approach people that you want to be in relationships with 100% unfiltered realness. Be as real as you want to be, because the hurt is only going to be on you if you keep it 55, or somebody's trying to keep it 100, and you never really hear and listen to each other. You got to do that. And I'm no expert, man, so please, you know, I'm not one of the people that you'll ever see on TV trying to talk relationships. I never want to be that guy. But man, do I just want better for just the people around me, at least, if nothing else. And hopefully this message about that black traumatic love story, that black drama that we all have grown up with, hopefully you can overcome it and you don't believe it. You stop believing in it. That way you can get the best out of yourself and the best out of your relationships. I sincerely mean that. And that's friendships and intimate relationships as well, man. Man, as I said, Father's Day is coming up. And one thing that I want to just leave the fellas with, I want to leave you guys with this. As you know, whether you celebrate Father's Day or not, if you get acknowledged or not, whatever it is, the one piece of information, again, I really want to give you is don't date women that hate their fathers. Don't do it. Don't date women who hate their fathers, because a lot of that pain and anger and aggression and the desire to shut you down and shut you up and shut you out, it's going to come to you. It's going to come to you. And no matter how you think you can flip it, if you think that this woman hating her father, and because you want to jump down with her and hate him too, if you don't think that that same anger, aggression, or whatever is going to come back to you, then you got life jacked up. Because any woman that will test and hate and despise the man that created her, that helped create her, she will definitely not have any respect for the man that is trying to create with her. And look, I know that maybe, just maybe, a lot of dads have not been the greatest, right? But even with that, if there's resentment, animosity, and hatred, it ain't worth it. If it's you know what, it's all good, I ain't tripping, you got a 50-50 shot. Tolerance may be low, or your BS. And of course, the women that love their fathers, that love is different. Again, something else I'm learning. I've it's been a joy and a pleasure to be with women that actually love the men in their lives. Like, they love their father. Their father is their first love and their first best friend. It's cool to get the backlash of that versus, you know, always hearing about how, yeah, my dad was here and he provided, but I needed more than that. I needed more than what my father gave me. And he was in the house every single day. He came home every day. And look, emotional unavailability is real. I'm not saying it ain't. But again, man, honesty and conversation, communication, that's the real solution. And no matter what, we shouldn't be in a position where we hate our parents, even if we know the best thing is to not talk to them anymore. And I've been there before too. So I'm not going to paint this picture like every interaction with both of my parents has been the absolute greatest, because it hasn't been, you know. So I want to leave you guys with that, man. And fellas, be men, be real, honest, detailed, thorough men. That message is for you as well as me. I need that as well. Even the days you want to keep it 95, man, you better keep it 100. You know, never be afraid to speak your mind and say what you want in fear of losing everything, because you'll never have nothing if you never stand for something. And if you don't speak in a manner to gain uh, the right way, a lot of wrong will come crumbling around you. Just my thought, just how I feel. That's going to do it for me, man. Made in the 1980s. I hope you guys enjoyed this show. ISO on me. I needed this. I wanted to talk this out. And maybe we rehash this when people check out this episode. Maybe it sparked some more conversation, and maybe a couple women want to join the show. Maybe I can get some of my friends and my lady as well to be on and have a conversation about this. But whatever you all are out there doing, just please do your best at it. Please be honest with each other. Please love each other, love on each other, learn healthier ways. Get away from all this materialistic, what I'm saying, my face card, my body banging. I got this much bread. It ain't, it's not the foundations of love and growth and generational wealth. None of that. None of that is. None of it. It ain't gonna help you. And we all in need of help. Never think that we're not. I appreciate y'all tuning in. Thank you so much as always. You know it. It's love.